Okay, so I think I did find something interesting to talk about. So me and Kayla, we've been friends since high school, literally, like we've been inseparable
Freshman year.
since freshman year, and that's a story of its own. I remember I had gone up to Kayla and I was like, "Oh, like we should be partners for music appreciation." We were in this lame music appreciation class. And then she was like, "No, like I have a partner already. Like I don't want to be your partner." Like she was so rude
It wasn't
and so
rude.
mean.
Was
And
it?
after that, I was traumatized. And I was like, I don't even want to talk to her anymore. I hated her.
She didn't hate me. She loves me.
No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, so guys,
We have a story.
we have a freaking story,
It's a creepy story.
a really creepy story. Like this guy, literally was trying to hit on me
And me.
and her, and he knew we were like close. So like around freshman year, I think, or sophomore year, I think it was sophomore year, he had
That
made
was a little bit later.
he made an Instagram page, and his name, I don't know, can we say his name? We'll just say something similar. Let's say like Jay. It's literally his name.
I was gonna say J Cunt. But just switch it. If you switch a few letters,
If you
that's
sw-
his real name.
if you
But it's
switch
not.
two letters?
It's not his name.
If you switch one letter in the first and one letter in the last,
Then you can get it.
you can put two and two together. But no, so Jay, cunts, did you say?
I don't. Let's change it.
We'll just say
Jake
Jake.
Blunts.
Yeah, once. We'll call him Ray. That's his name.
Beat that out of the video.
Beep. We'll call him
Jay.
Jay. So around sophomore year of high school,
I think it was you first.
yeah, I had gotten, like, it was a normal day. We were in school. Me and her had a lot of classes together. So I think was it at school or was I at home when I called you?
I don't remember.
So I
Could've been after.
I think it was after school. So I had come home and I was already like resting. I went on Instagram and I got a DM and I was like, "Oh, like who's DMing me? Like this is weird." I mean, like not that it's weird to get DMs,
Yeah,
but like
we didn't know who this person
we
was.
didn't know who he was,
It
and
came off weird.
like at that point I was letting random people follow me. Like I wasn't really like strict on who I was letting follow me, or like I didn't really know. I was letting random people follow me even if I didn't know them. And so at that point I had accepted, I don't know when I accepted his friend request or his follow request, but it was a while. Like he had been following me for a while and I didn't even know it. And so I had randomly gotten a DM from him saying like, "Oh, hey, how are you?"
Just trying to start up
a conversation. Yeah, basically just trying to start up a conversation. And at that point I was like, I'm not mean, so I was like, of course, like I was gonna respond back to him, and like
even though keep in mind we have no idea who
Yeah.
this person is.
we didn't know who he was
Complete
at all.
stranger. We
Yeah.
don't recognize him from school at all.
His name didn't seem familiar. All he had on his bio was like a picture of himself, like close up, and with
His-
sunglasses, right?
Yeah, his Instagram profile was a little bit odd.
Yeah,
That's why we were a little
and like
uncomfortable.
yeah, like it was super like religious too.
Oh, yeah,
Also
yeah.
on top of that, but it wasn't like he was religious in like that sense, and there's nothing against that.
Yeah.
But it was also like he had like a gothic.
Yeah, it was like
vibe
really,
to
a
him,
really
too. Like
dark,
a dark
Instagram
deep
feed.
Yes, dark deep vibe, and I think like I wasn't even following him back. I had just let him follow me, and I didn't even follow him back because I
left
didn't
it
even
at that.
like I didn't even know who he was, and that's when I got the notification that someone was trying to send me a message, and then I had gone on, and that's when he was like, "Hey, like how are you doing?" Or he was just asking me like these random questions, and I'm never one to like turn down a conversation. Because even though I didn't, which sounds dumb, like if someone tries to message any one of you guys or someone like that you don't know, don't freaking like message back if you don't know them, because you don't know
Yeah.
who you're messaging. You don't know if it's a catfish or you
It's
just don't
a
know.
really
It's an old man, like you just
stalker.
don't know. Yeah, and we've had our fair share of stories that we'll probably tell later on.
Post later.
But
No.
yeah, so he like had messaged me and he was asking me like, oh, he asked me all that, and so I responded. I was like, oh, like, hey, I just put hey, and then and that's all I put, which is kind of dumb of me
Because that's
to
how
do.
it just started off. It was
Yeah, it was just like a plain hey.
Hi.
So then
How's it going?
afterwards, I started noticing that he started interrogating me, like with questions. Like he was like, do you have a boyfriend?
What school do you
What
go
school
to?
do you go to? What church do you go to? Asking me all these questions.
Where
And-
do you live?
Yeah, where do you live? Who's your friends? Like, who do you follow? Like, really weird questions that someone normal wouldn't ask. So at that point, I was kind of like, oh, like, you know, I was getting more cautious. And so I blocked him. And the last thing I remember from him was he was basically getting mad that I wasn't responding back to him. Because after, like, he started asking me questions, the only thing I ever responded back to him was the hey. It was one hey, but then he started getting crazy with his questions, like asking me all those questions that we just said. And after that, I was like, this guy is crazy. Like, I'm not gonna, like, waste my time messaging him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So then fast forward years, like 2 years after, in senior year, I had gotten this notification of this other guy trying to follow me, and I had completely forgotten about Jake. Like, Jake didn't even cross my mind. It was just this weird guy that had tried to message me in the past.
Yeah.
Like, I completely forgot about him. I blocked him. I blocked his old account, and then I didn't know he made a new account to follow me.
Oh yeah, this guy had multiple accounts.
Yeah, he
for
didn't
some
just have
weird reason.
And we found that out. He didn't just have one account. He had multiple accounts.
And then we found out, I think he was following me, or I was following him
Yeah.
somehow. Like, we knew the same account
Yes.
somehow. I don't know.
So he was following both of us. And then later on, when we were going down our followers, we noticed that he had multiple accounts that we were following, or he was following us, not the other way around. We weren't really following him.
No. I
But
don't
he
know.
was following us, and we noticed that he had more than 2 accounts, let's just say. So it was kind of strange. So he had it planned, like each time we would block him, he had a backup account to
And he
come
was
back and
following
message.
us on both of the
Yes.
accounts, not just like one or the other.
And it was random because it was just like us. He had a good amount of followers, so it never like once did it cross my mind that he was a fake person or like he was a
Yeah.
fake guy.
Fake
Like he seemed
account.
very real. That's why I had messaged him to start off with, because I honestly thought like it was a guy who was looking for a friend, and I didn't want to judge like who knew.
I think that's what he was kind of saying too.
Yeah,
like,
he
oh, I
was-
just want to get to know you and talk to you,
Yeah.
like friend-wise.
So the second account, it was like a symbol. Like it didn't have his face on it. It had his name. And I recognized the name. And when his second account wanted to follow me, I thought I knew him because of the name.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember from what or where. I just remembered his name. So I was like, oh, like I'll let this guy follow me. And I think that's the account I followed back.
Okay.
So it was his second account that I followed back. And then so I was following him, and then he started messaging me again, and his questions, the same questions.
Yeah.
The same questions. So I remembered him. And then I went to my blocked accounts, and he was there. His name was there. The same exact name, same exact profile,
Person.
basically, same profile, like the same exact thing. And I remember calling Kayla and being like, Kayla, like this weird guy's messaging me. So she immediately came over to my house. Like she came, like right when I told her, she came over, and like we were talking to him on my Instagram. Like we were speaking to him, and I was just like, hey, like I'll try to see if I could put like screenshots of our conversation up like here
That was
somewhere.
a while ago.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
know
a
if
while
we
back
have
ago.
them.
I don't know if we still have them, but if I do, like
It'll
I'll
be
put them.
somewhere.
It'll put somewhere right here. I don't know. Or at the end of the video, you'll see the messages. But he was just basically asking me like, "Oh, do you have a boyfriend and stuff like that?" And then he went on, literally right when she came to my house.
Me and her are together, here at this
together.
house in her room upstairs.
Yes.
And
Together.
he messaged her, and then at the same time, or a few minutes apart, I got a message from him too.
Yes.
So me and her are both talking to the same guy
Yes.
in this as we're in the same room. He's
Yes.
asking the same questions. You know,
Yeah.
you're best friends with Valerie, right? Asking questions about her, asking questions about me, and we're both like,
Yes.
who is this guy? What is he? We didn't know what he wanted from us.
Yeah, we were so freaked out because keep in mind, like, we're seniors in high school. We're like 17.
We're still young.
We're still young, but like
still
we're
young.
like freaking out. We're in my room, like all this is happening. It's freaking It was around winter time too, so like it was all dark.
It's all gloomy.
It's all gloomy. It feels like we're
Outside.
freaking Pretty Little Liars or
Yeah.
like an episode or something. And so then that's when I was like, Kayla, like, you know, let's start messaging him the same message. Like, let's start texting him the same things that, like, you know, like the same
I
messages.
don't remember exactly what we were saying. Just like
I think, like, he was like
kind of turning it back on him, like, oh, who are you?
like, yeah.
Tell me more about you. And I don't remember.
We were trying to find out information about him because we wanted to know who he was. Because we only ever saw one picture of him, and that was his Instagram profile pic on the first account. And that was from years before.
But it wasn't like a good solid photo. It was like an edited sunglasses you couldn't really see, like dark.
Yeah. So, like, long story short, like he was trying to get with her and trying to get with me.
Had like the same.
And I was like, what are you doing? Like, do you not know? Like, he obviously knew because he found her, I think, through my Instagram.
He knew both of us
He knew both of us from somewhere. I don't know where he knew us from.
I don't remember if he was like, oh, I know you from school, or I know you from around town. I don't remember.
He said something about knowing us from school or knowing us from church, and I was like, okay, not even like to be funny, but I haven't been to church in like forever. I should probably go to church, but I haven't been to church in forever, so I'm like, how would you even know me from church?
Yeah.
Like, he was just saying all this like nonsense and stuff like that. And then eventually, like, I was like, let's start texting him the same stuff. Let's see what he'll say. Like, what if he, like, you know, like, I don't know. I started messaging, me and her started messaging the same exact messages. Because at that point, I felt like he was copying and pasting his messages to me and to her.
He was saying the same exact thing.
Like, he wasn't, like, he wasn't like even trying to like make them a little different. Like,
it was a script or something.
Yeah, it was a script. Like, he was a robot or something. Like, a robot was trying to like get at both of us because a real person would never.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and like it just didn't make sense. So we were like freaking out. And then eventually he had this symbol on his Instagram that he would always promote everywhere. Like, it was weird. It was like his religion symbol. I don't know what it was. It was like creepy though.
Yeah, I remember he would always try to, like I said, he would ask us what church we went to, and I always remember he tried to like, like, I don't know the word, kind of like influence us on what he believed.
Yes.
But he didn't really go into detail. I don't know if he was like a Christian or
yeah.
I don't remember what he was.
Yeah.
But that was the main topic, was like
trying to like get us into his religious thing. But then again, like, he was also creeping us out by asking for boyfriends or asking, you know, like it was
personal
just weird
questions.
And then I remember telling him like, oh, because I wanted, like, you never, like I was saying earlier, like, you never know what a person's going through, so I didn't want to immediately be like, oh, well, you know, screw you, like, get out of here, like, I don't know who you are, you know, because you don't know, like, what they're going through. So I kind of was like, hey, like, I don't know who you are, like, I'm sorry, like, I don't think that asking people on the internet random questions is right when you don't know them, because
he's like, I'm just trying to make friends or something.
And he kind of like was guilt tripping us into making him, like, we kind of were like telling him, and I was letting him down nicely, like I was telling him like, look, like, that's not right, like, we don't know who you are,
you're making us feel a little uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then that's when he was like, well, look, like, I'm trying to make friends,
I'm just being nice, I'm just trying to make friends.
Yeah. And he's like,
okay, that's cool.
Yeah, like, we were never once negative. And then what did he say? He was like, oh, let me talk to Kayla. And so afterwards I started being mean to him because I was like, look, you're not getting it. Like, he was very persistent in his words, and he started getting more aggressive in a way, in the way he was texting me. Like, he was getting more meaner, and he was getting more like aggressive. Like, I don't know.
Like, he was turning it on us. Like, what's your problem?
Yeah, he was making me feel like I was at fault. And this guy was like a psycho because he was making like 100 like, he had like literally like 4 profiles following the both of us, and nobody else from our high school I noticed he was following. It was just me and her. So it was like, there's something going on there that I feel like connects to a story that we'll do later on that's even more intense than this story.
More crazy.
More
that y'all
crazy.
not ready
And
for.
it might connect to this story. I'm
We
not
don't
sure.
know.
We don't know, because this guy was like crazy. This guy was crazy, but the next story,
It's even crazier.
it's crazier. Like, we have receipts and stuff like that. We have receipts, like proof. Did you ever keep okay, well, that's for another video.
We'll save that later.
But this guy, yeah, he was getting aggressive with me, and I was like, look, dude, like, if you don't, you need to stop doing this to random people, like, you don't know them. And I was like, I blocked him. I blocked that account. And I was like, I was completely over with that account. And he was getting upset with me because he realized that we were together. I don't know how he realized, because we were messaging him the same thing. So he was like, look, like, stop. Let me talk to you guys individually. Like,
or he was like, stop telling Kayla what to say.
Yes.
Let me and her talk
yeah.
one-on-one.
Yeah. He came at me like that. He was like, stop telling Caleb what to say. Like, I know she doesn't feel that way and stuff like that. And I was like, I was like, boy, don't come at me that way.
I know.
Like, you messaged me first. Like, you have a bunch of Instagrams following me, and you're over here being like crazy. And then that's when he started talking to Kayla, like, and he was like telling you, like,
I heard something.
guys, my house is haunted.
It really is haunted.
So yeah, so then he just got all crazy, and then he was messaging Kayla like, oh, is she still there, like, or is it just
you and me now?
Yeah, like,
That
he
scared
told
me
her
so
that.
much. I was like,
Yeah, he
sure.
told her that, and we were still together, so it was just like, he was just like, it was weird. Like, I was reading the messages, sir, and I was like, what if he knows where I live? Like, what if he's watching this right
know.
now? Like, we didn't know. Like, we were thinking the worst.
We
were assuming the worst.
Crazy.
And I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, he was probably not there. He was probably someone from school pranking us, or I don't know who.
I don't know.
But it gets like I was saying with the symbol that he had, he was promoting a symbol, like a religious symbol, and I started seeing that symbol everywhere. Like, everywhere. Like, I would be driving, and then I would see the symbol on a car. So guys, Kayla just went to the restroom, and we realized that our video had cut off. But I'm gonna finish telling kind of the end of the story. So I would start seeing his symbol everywhere, and then that's when I went on my Instagram profile to see who was following me, and that's when I found his 3 other accounts were still following my Instagram. So I went ahead and I blocked all his accounts and stuff like that. We still to this day don't know who he was, like, if he was even a real person. But we haven't heard from him. We haven't seen him. His accounts, I went through all my followers, and Kayla went through all her followers, so we for sure know that he's not following either one of us anymore. So yeah, that's basically what happened. Please stay tuned for next week for my next video. I'll probably do another story time or something like that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you guys next time.